Well, hello everyone. Hola. Welcome. Bem-vindo to Yarn Stories with Olivia. This is episode 24, and today is Sunday, July 13th. Can I start by saying thank you to all of you that have subscribed, all of the new subscribers that I've had over the last few weeks. It's unbelievable to me that people are willing to join me on here on this journey of my yarn crafting. So welcome to my little channel here on YouTube. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. For those of you that are new, I'll do a little bit of a bio life story thing more towards the end, so I don't bore anyone here at the beginning and lose them from watching this episode. I also have my 1,000 subscriber giftaway that I'll be announcing somewhere around the middle of the episode because I have so much to show you. So it's been over 4 weeks since I sat down to record. And as most of you probably know, life tends to get in the way. And every time I thought that I was going to have an opportunity to record, life things happened or work things happened, and I just never really had the time to focus, to sit down and make my notes and to be able to put together some good content for you all here. But I do have a lot to show you, so this will be a long episode. I hope you're going to stay along with me towards the end. Grab something to drink, grab your project, because I will have a lot to talk about. I've just been creating and creating. I think the last time we met, I mentioned that I was spending some time at the campground, which I did, so I got a lot done there. But on top of that, there's been a lot of long nights of creating as a de-stressor or as a therapy for things in my work life. So let's do the real podcast stuff before we start talking about all these other things. So I am Olivia, Yarn Stories with Olivia, because somebody already had the channel that was Yarn Stories, so I had to tag in my name there. And Yarn Stories because I just love to talk about all of my yarn makes, and I have found my community. I really have. You are all so wonderful and making me feel such a part of this community here on YouTube of makers, of yarn makers, knitters, crocheters. And yeah, I feel like I'm talking to my people now and not having to under-explain or get the glazed eye look from those listening to me when I'm talking about my recent projects or what I'm working on. So I'm Olivia 30 on Ravelry, where you can find all of my notes, my current finishes and new cast-ons. I tend to want to get it on there as soon as I start working on it so that I don't forget where I'm at with the project. I'm also Olivia 30M on Instagram, where I will post my progress with my makes, but I tend to be more on time with my notes of my makings on Ravelry. So if you'd like to follow me along, that's a good place to go. Although some of you probably by now have found me on Ravelry. I've been getting a lot of friend requests on Ravelry, and I absolutely love that. And you'll probably already know what I'm going to talk about today because I've had it all posted there. So let's start. Let's see. So I've told you where you can find me, and as you already probably all know, I do make notes in the description box below where I link to all of my projects, to anything that I mentioned today, podcasters, tutorials, products, everything will be posted down below. And I think that is all of the little bits of things I need to get out of the way. So I think I'm ready to start. Are you ready? I have quite a few things, and one of the best and thrilled that I finally finished it is the Petal Party Crop. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about this, can we? What a journey it has been working on this top. This is Olivia. This is a pattern by Samantha Guerin, the Petal Party Crop. It was something that I cast on 2 years ago, hit a snag, went in a timeout. I used a different yarn, didn't like how it was coming out. all of this is in prior episodes. For those of you who have been with me for a while and already know this, but for those of you that are new, let me ask for your patience for my OGs and say that I use this channel as a progress report of my makes. So I've talked about this in the last couple of episodes. If you're interested in more details that I'm going to push out here, check out the last 2 episodes. But let me just say, what a journey. I was on a roll with it at the last episode. I said it was looking great. It was. And then when I watched the video back during editing, I saw that there was a little bloop of a stitch here that I couldn't unsee because it was like right here. And I couldn't tell if it was a twisted stitch or if it was one that I just knit 2 together or whatever it was sort of right here, and it just was bugging the heck out of me. And because I am that kind of a knitter where it has to be perfect, and because I don't mind taking back and re-knitting, I just had to go with it. And I did post it on Instagram, and I think there's pictures of it on Ravelry as well, but I'll add it here. I'm not sure which side, probably this side because I'll have more room on this side, of how I fixed it. And I fixed it with a crochet hook. I got brave. It was the first time I had done it. I dropped down the stitches to where the error was, and then with a crochet hook I picked back up. And while it still left a little bit of something not quite right with blocking, you can't tell. It's now perfect. So it's done. I am wearing it today with a white tank top, T-top underneath it. It's New England. We have humidity. Summer's finally here, but I am very comfortable with this. But wearing it with a white tee with some shorts, jean shorts. And I have worn it to work this week with one of my work dresses, my short sundresses that has pockets, which is my favorite thing to wear at work because I have to carry my keys around with me all the time because we have a lot of doors that need to be unlocked at the library. Oh yeah, by the way, for those of you who might not know, my daytime job is I'm a library administrator. So I will mention the library quite often on here. And so I wore it and loved it. It looked comfortable. I looked professional with it. And I got no compliments on it. Nobody said, is that your most recent finished item? Nobody said, did you knit that? So I guess it's a compliment. It looked store-bought. But boy, after all the work I put into it, I really was hoping somebody was going to say, that's an amazing piece of work you're wearing. So I may have to start wearing little signs that say, hey, I know it looks really professionally done and machine done, but it was these hands that spent a lot of time on it. So about the pattern, this is, I believe, the first Samantha Guerin pattern that I had purchased and started to work on. It was a little bit of a challenge because of the lace work, because I would lose concentration. Even though I had the markers in between, I would lose my spot once in a while, and then I would notice the mistake and take it back. So it took longer for that. With the variegated yarn that I had used initially, it really, really was hard. But once I started to do it with a solid yarn, I could see the mistakes relatively early. If I missed a row that didn't add up correctly, which did happen because we ended up watching, we were on Netflix and we were binge watching it, and it was such a good show. It was with Matthew Good, Department Q. We watched it at the campground 2 nights. We binge watched it. So there I am, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, inside the camper, watching Netflix, trying to do, this is royal blue lace work. So you know what happened, right? The next morning, when I saw my mistake, I'd have to go back 2-3 rows to fix it. But it's fine, it's fine. It's just, I love the knitting process. I do love the finished project. If it takes me a couple of weeks, if it takes me a couple of months to finish something, it's all right. Knitting for me, yarn time for me is therapy, and I'm perfectly fine with how long it takes to get something done. So what else can I say to you about this? So Petal Party Crop by Samantha Guerin, check, told you that. I used a US 6 4mm needle. I used, I made a size 5, and I used Cascade Heritage yarn. And this was my little bag where I kept it. It's not a fancy handmade bag. This is what I had received when I went to the Massachusetts Library Association annual conference. This was a swag bag that we got, and I'm very proud of this bag because I am a very proud librarian and a very proud Massachusetts librarian. And yeah, I get choked up every time I talk about public libraries. So anyway, back to the yarn. Heritage, it was Cascade Yarns Heritage, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I had 4 skeins of this yarn in stash, and I thought this would be a good yarn to use for this since it was a solid yarn. I purchased it, I don't even remember how long ago, but it was $12 a skein that I paid for it. I used 2 balls of it, so 400 yards, right? Because it's, am I doing my math right? 100 grams, 437 yards, so 437, and then I have this much left from the 3rd skein, which is, I weighed it, I've got 63 grams left here. So it was less than 1,000, right? Or thereabouts, 1,000 yards to make this top. I said I was a librarian, I didn't say I was a mathematician. I'll fix my math and I post it on here. I hate math. I hate math, but as an administrator, I do a lot of math. And the math works out. It's just in explaining it, I have a hard time with it. So I did what I had to do in order to get the lace right. Let me just show you what the pattern looks like. And I've got it on paper. This is what the pattern looks like on Ravelry. And I had started to use a variegated yarn. The pattern has been around the block a few times. There's a lot of notes on it. It's been out in the humidity quite a bit, so it's not in the best shape. But in order to get the lace work done, I ended up doing a little chart of what the repeat was, and then my little check marks. And so I've got my little check marks on how I was doing it. And I had to do that because this pattern, so as an alert or a warning, this pattern does not have a chart. It's written instructions. And the written pattern, the lace pattern is written, and it's bolded to, so you know what you're supposed to be doing, but it's quite easy for your eyes to travel on the page and you miss, was that a yarn over? Was that a knit 2 together? So I found doing it this way with my little chart worked better for me. So that would be my recommendation to you if you're going to make this pattern, which it is a beautiful pattern, and for anybody that enjoys a little bit of lace with a lot of boring stock in that, this is it for you. This will be the one, because then it has a little bit of detail here where every 6 or 7 rows there's a purl row on the sleeves. Also down the side here, down the side is also the purl stitch travels. So it does keep you engaged, but I will admit that I don't think this is going to be a repeat offender for me. I am not going to redo this one. I've done it several times, tend to knit 1, 2, or 3. So I've got quite a few tops that I've knit 3 of for me and for gifts, and this is one that it's a one and done with this one. There's so many other patterns out there. There's so many other Samantha Guerin patterns out there that I want to try working on. I'm happy with it. I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot about how this works, the construction, because it is constructed where you do one shoulder, then the other shoulder, then you join them, and then you then you pick up at the shoulders to knit the front, and then you join everything together for the neck, and then you start working until sleeve separation, etc. Now the pattern did say for it to be, I believe, 8.75 inches on the side. And I did it, finished it, cast it off. I was in the camper. I'll put a picture on here what it looked like after I cast it off, and it was pre-blocking, but there was no way that this body would wear that kind of a crop top. No, just, that wasn't for me. So can you guess what I did? I took the ribbing back out, added another 2 stitches to the body, and then did the ribbing again, and now it's at the length that I like. Even pre-blocking, it felt more my size and felt more complementary to my body shape than the initial one. But once blocked, perfect. So the great thing about making your own garments and knowing what's going to work best for your body is that you feel free to add the length that you want. It does have a little bit of positive ease, which yeah, size 4 probably would have been a little too snug, but size 6 would have been way too big, so size 5 is just right. So that's my Petal Party Crop by Samantha Guerin, and that's a wrap up on this project. So I'm gonna take a breath, and I'm gonna try not to look over here, because over here is, and I said it with the last podcast, because I absolutely love it when Jen from Stash Down Diaries talks about this, where she mentions her production crew, which is, she has 2 cats and a dog. Well, my production crew is Gary, and he just decided to hop on here on the chair next to me. And he's looking at me to see what it is that I'm doing. So yeah, no podcast is complete without a little mention of Gary, but he's off wandering around at my feet now. So we'll see if he jumps up on the table to say hello to you all. Okay, so let's see. Check on the Petal Party Crop. So in between this, I needed a quick fix. I needed something that would still make me feel like I was a knitter and I knew what I was doing. And I had already done this pattern before. I had made this pattern. I had made this as a hat for me for when we went to New York City to catch a Broadway show in January of 23, I believe. And it was a perfect fit of a hat. I used Cascade 220 tweed. Love the hat. I used it again this past year when I went to Vogue Knitting Live or at Times Square. Love the fit of the hat, keeps me warm. And I had a cousin say to me, I really need one of those hats. She's in Florida. She really doesn't need one of those hats. However, in January in Florida, sometimes it can get to 30 degrees, similar to us here in South Coast of Massachusetts. So I am going to surprise her with a hat for Christmas for her to use for the 1 month or maybe the 1 day in January that they get cold in Jacksonville, Florida. I am talking about this hat. And inside, so I wouldn't forget, yep, I got the rest of my iron. This is the horseshoe cable hat. And it's horseshoe cable with left twist. It's a pattern by La Violette Yarn Gift and Company. She no longer has a yarn shop. This would have been, her name is Manon Drolet. And this was her hat pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. Highly, highly recommend if you're looking for a quick stitch hat. And not only is this a hat for Kelly, so it qualifies for the Get Gifting Mal, hosted by Marie of Old Time Knits. It also qualifies as use of Elder Stash, which is another initiative from Jen of the Stash Down Diaries, to use up the oldest yarn you have in stash. And this is, I would say, probably, yeah, other than my acrylic. I've got some acrylic that's old stash, but this would be wool that I actually bought from a yarn shop. And it would have been around 2007, 2008. We had a local yarn shop that was during the week was a hair salon, and then on the weekends she turned it into a little knitting corner in her salon, and it was Peg's Hair Affair. For my local friends, they'll know what I'm talking about. So I picked up this yarn from Peg, and this yarn is, well, this label doesn't, it's got the price tag, but it's Odyssey, yeah, it's Reynolds Odyssey, and it's sold at the price tag is all faded out. And this is, it's a discontinued worsted yarn. And I had two 50-gram balls of this yarn. And this is what I've got left from the two 50 grams. So I used up pretty much all of the stash from it that I had in this yarn. So what a win. Nice gift to give. It's a hat that somebody wants. It's a project that I already know fits really, really well. And I've got this itty bitty bit of yarn that I'll use for something, either for yarn worms or for a coaster or something. And what else can I say about it? So yeah, I did say it was a free pattern. I used a US 5, 3.75 millimeter for the cast on and the brim. And then it's a 7 and 4.5 millimeter for the body, with of course the cable needle. Very simple cable. It's, you know, for those of you who do cables, it's a piece of cake. And it has these other little cables here in between that I just done with how you knit the stitch. So I'm not gonna put it on here because I don't want to mess up. The humidity had my hair all curly, so I had to do a little flat ironing on it. But I'll post a picture probably here of me with my hat in New York City, in Times Square. And I've got it with a pom-pom that is attached with a button on the inside. It's one of those pom-poms that's an elastic. Let's see if I can show you here. It's got a little elastic here, so that she'll be able to take it out to wash it if she needs to, and then just feed it back through the hat. Or if she decides she just wants the hat without the pom-pom, if she takes this out, the hat will be fine without it. So highly recommend this pattern, free on Ravelry. Go over and download it, work on it, and let me know what you think of this hat, because I have a few more 50-gram balls of worsted weight yarn in stash that I am just going to be cranking some of these out for gifts. And to just have this much left over, what a win in working down your stash. That's that. So that is finished knitted project number 2. Are we doing okay? Am I going too fast for you all? I know that you can slow me down. Oh, I should show you, and I didn't even make this in my notes, but I just realized it's here on the table with the other hat. The gnome that I made for Beverly, which was a huge hit in the last episode, I made the gnome, the library gnome, and it's keeping her company quite well at work. I had enough yarn left over that I wasn't sure what to do with it. I don't know if I should put it into another gnome, so I went and I did one of these barista hats. I've talked about these before. It's a very simple, it's a 3x2 rib hat. It's called the barista hat. And I've started another one. I keep it in the car. So yes, I finished it. So this was the rest of the yarn from that big ball that I had. And this is gonna be one of the hats that's gonna go into the donation box at the library for those who will need hats in the winter time. We keep a box in the lobby at the library as soon as right after Thanksgiving, when it starts to get really cold. And our Crochet for Comfort group that meets at the library will make hats and put it in there, and some of the staff also knit, and I'll crochet, and so we add. And then throughout the whole month of November, December, and January, we keep the box filled for anybody coming in who finds themselves in need of a hat. They're more than welcome to take one with them, no questions asked. So that's where this one's gonna go. I didn't count it as a finished object, but I guess it does count as a finished object. But and it's just another example of how once I have the yarn in hand of that I've used for a project, I like to use it all up. I don't want to like find another place to store it. Let's use this. It's done. Check it off. We don't have any more of this yarn in the house. So that's this one. All right, let's take a little pause here. And I haven't checked to see if I'm recording correctly. I don't even know if the sound is good or not. So there's a good chance I may have to start this all over again. Although I'm seeing the time go quite well, and we'll see how it is when I finally hit stop. So I'm gonna see how much I can get through here without doing editing. I'm getting a lot more comfortable and not so worried about my mistakes with my words or in my explanations. I think by now, if you've been with me and you keep returning, I'm obviously doing something right and you don't mind my little mistakes. This is the real Olivia. Okay, now, finished object number 3. It's another knitted project, but it's one that I can't remember if I showed in the last episode, but I know that it was on Instagram. So let's talk about it. So it is a pair of socks, and they are Josh's skip socks. That's what I'm calling them on Ravelry. These are, it's the skip pattern, which is, yeah, let me explain, let me say about the pattern and the story behind these. Or should I do the story first? Let me do the story first, because that's what this channel's about, right? And then I can hurry through the rest of the information. The story with these is my friend Josh, one day came to my house and said, my mom has this yarn that she's not gonna use, so she wanted to pass it on to you. And the yarn is, let me put these down to show you. The yarn is Lion Brand Sockies. And he had 2 balls of it. I believe 3, it might have been 3. And it is in the color Rock Candy. And it's a 75-25, and it was 438 yards a ball. And so what I thought to do with it was to surprise him by making him a pair of socks with the yarn that he gave me and giving him back the socks. This was last summer, last June of 24. I started the socks on a very hot summer day in either June or July, I'm not sure now. They ended up being, well, they probably were cast on in June, and then July we got a heat wave, and I ended up making these my feet in the pool knitting, you know, floating in my pool. We have an above ground pool that rarely gets used now that the boys are all grown, but when it's very hot and the water is bath temperature, that's when Olivia goes in, and Olivia will go around in the floaty, the yarn in a plastic bag, and do some knitting. And my neighbors are used to this, so they do not think I've lost my marbles. They look out, hey, there you are, having a good time, keeping cool? Yes, yes. So anyway, cast them on, worked on them, and then never went back in the pool. They got packed away. They went with me on vacation to the Azores last August. I did knit them at the beach there a little bit, and then we came back and it got put back into the basket. The bottom of the whip basket it went until I decided that I was really going to concentrate on finishing what I had in the whip basket, hence why this project was finished, because there's a lot that I want to make, but at the same time, I want to try to balance what I've already started before I can start something else. Just balances and checks for me, right? It's I've always worked with goals and objectives, and I need to have some action steps achieved. So I'm like, all right, what's in the action plan for the next month? We're gonna get these things done, hence the socks. It was July, time to finish them. We had a little bit of a heat wave again, went and worked on them a little bit outside. I didn't take them with me in the pool, but they were close by on the deck with me, and I finished them. And they are size 11, 11 and a half. Josh has got a big foot. And so this is the skip sock, SKYP. And let's see, this is what, it's a simple skip socks. I've done these before. I really enjoy this pattern. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, or I should say right now it is one where it's there's a coupon code for it, It can be free, but if you choose to contribute to the pattern designer, there's levels of that you can donate to her. And it is by Adrienne Wu, or Mushroom Knits on Ravelry. And for Josh, I tend to do all my socks 64 stitches with size 2, US 2 millimeter needles, oh gosh, I'm messing this up. US 2, 2.75 millimeter for the socks for me or for my guys. Those tend to fit us all really well. Somebody did ask me if I make socks for me. Yes, I do, but not as much as I do for the others. I prefer to make for others than to make for me. And but for Josh having a big foot, for him I did a 72 stitch count. And I really, really love this pattern. It's super easy. I don't know why it took me so long to pick them back up again. My, favorite slip stitch heel, and to the size 11. I didn't do the pattern down the foot because Josh uses, he does construction work, or he does, heavy lifting work outdoors. He does landscaping work, etc. And with his boots, I thought the simple knit on the top of his foot might be more comfortable for him. So that's why it's only on the cuff and not at the top of the foot. So that's the story behind Josh's socks, which are done. It's still July. It's July 13th. I am gonna get them to him soon. I had planned to drop them off earlier, but since I wasn't recording, I held on to them a little bit longer. And I should show you from the one skein, this is what I've got left. And I believe this is 15 grams of yarn left, which I'll apply with some other yarn to make something with it. Or it might end up being just the perfect yarn for another gnome. So, skip socks. I think I got you on that, right? Yep. Check. Number 3, check. And I remembered everything. Free with coupon code, 72 stitches, size 11 foot. I did really well this morning. I said, I gotta make all my notes because I know I'm gonna forget to say something, and I'll feel bad because then I have to edit. This way, if I just repeat my notes, we're good. Okay, finished project number 4. Okay, told you there's gonna be a lot of stuff to show you, but it's all good stuff, and I hope I inspire you to make these projects, because these are simple projects, and this was also another free one that I came across, and another one that is perfect for elder stash, perfect for gift giving, and another quick knit. And these are the Cafe Ole mittens. They are fingerless mittens. And try to see if you can see it. It is late afternoon, but I think you can see that pretty well. So these mittens have been in my Ravelry library for a very long time. And keeping in mind the project of Elder Stash, I had this Rowan Designer DK wool in stash. In fact, I have, and I'll talk about this too, I have 2 balls of it. So instead of making another hat, because this is DK and the hat is worsted weight, I decided to make the mitts. This is 50 grams. This is what I've got left. Not even 5 grams left of that one ball. So what a win, right? And it matches really well with the hat. So this will make a very nice gift for Kelly. Again, Jacksonville, Florida. She doesn't exactly need heavy winter mitts, but for those cold mornings when she has to be, she does some outdoor work, she'll be able to use these when she's having to go outside in the morning. And love, love, love this pattern. So I'll be working on the next pair today. And let me show you. So free pattern, I said that, right? Cafe au lait mitts is by Paula McKeever, Snapper Knits on Ravelry. This is what it looks like. And once you print it, I always print double-sided to be economical with that paper. Because I do like to have paper in hand if I'm going to make notes. So you either, if you are a chart person, all you need to do is follow the chart. If you are a person like me that likes to read it sometimes, you've got the pattern there. So I had it in my project bag, which is this little project bag, this little lovely project bag, which is a little Chip Pet bag that was sewn by Chip of one half of the duo at Fiber Hustle. This is one of the early Chip Pet baskets that he had, and I hopped right on it to get it because it's the perfect little bag for a ball of yarn if you're working on socks, or in this case, this 50-gram ball to work on the mitts. I could keep the pattern in here with a ball of yarn, and in here I also, so then it, see, I forgot already. Forgot to tell you, it's a US 4 needle to make the project, 3.5 millimeter. Yeah, that's everything on my notes. So I can keep everything in here, and I even have the barber cord for when I have to put the yarn on the cable to hold the thumb to finish the project, and then to pick up the stitches again to finish the thumb. And that is another win, right? So let me put everything back in here. See how happy I get about finishing a project and talking about it. And I know none of you are rolling your eyes at me, right? Because you get it. You're not pretending to listen. They're not really listening. Does this sound like I'm a little ticked off lately about that? That's because we just got home from doing a road trip with some friends. They're always making fun of me because I want to be knitting while I'm sitting around while they're all scrolling on their phones. And then when I try to explain to them what I'm working on, they're like, oh, that's nice. Okay. But they are my friends and I love them. And we, yeah, I'll show at the end. We ended up going to a winery. We had a lot of fun. So, let's see. Yeah, Cafe au lait mittens. Finished project number 4. Check. We're doing good here. I'm at 38 minutes and I've already shown you 4 finished projects, plus a little bit of meandering in between, right? Okay. So, what can I show you next? I think I'm going to show you my new buddy. I really, really, really like this new buddy that I have. Oh, so, you know, we've all heard about the emotional support chicken. I haven't made one yet. I do plan to make one. Oh, I should take these off. You don't need to see me talking with these on, right? So I do plan to make, in fact, I bought the kit and I do plan to make a chicken someday. Maybe that's where a lot of this leftover yarn is going to end up. And, but in the meantime, I also was doing some research on potentially joining Ray of Needles at the Ready with the birthday cast on of the book Snake. Maybe 2 episodes ago we talked about this, how I'm not a fan of the snake. But I like the idea of marking the books that you read and finding a color that matches the book and putting it into this piece as a way to, like a temperate, I guess it would be like a temperature blanket, but it's more about the books, right? What you've read. So I like that idea, and I thought it might be something I would like to do to put on display at the library when we do staff picks. We all submit what books we read throughout the year that we really enjoy, and then we display them with, this is Olivia's picks, you know, this is Ashley's picks, this is Donna's picks, and I thought it would be good to have this book Snake as part of the display, but I really didn't want to do the snake head. So in my research to come up with a worm, because I thought a bookworm would be ideal, my fellow librarian and friend Jen, Bookworm Jen, on Ravelry and on Instagram, also thought a bookworm would be a much more appropriate thing for us to work on. So I did a little research, as librarians do, and found that there was such a thing as a bookworm pattern. So meet Wormie, my emotional support worm, my little bookworm. Isn't he the cutest? Every time I look at him, I just want to smile. I just want to smile. He is just the cutest little thing. Now, I'm not much of a fan of making toys, but there was just something about this guy that was so much fun. And he's really not all that big. And now I understand the concept of how to make the back end, give him the little hump, to give him his little belly, and then to do his head. I found this pattern in a book, and Wormie is being entered into from a book Mal, hosted by Aaron and Chip of At Fiber Hustle. And he is just, let me just say, the book is Knitting in the Library Stacks. It's no longer in print. It is available on Amazon, but super expensive. Some libraries have it. Our library didn't have it. But we belong to the Commonwealth Catalog here in Massachusetts, which is a catalog of, while we have our network, we have our local libraries in our network, then there's the Commonwealth Catalog, which is where every library in Massachusetts, you can access everyone's catalog and you can see who has it. So I did get a copy of the book through the Commonwealth Catalog, and I believe it was the Library of Norwood. And let me put him here because I'll put pictures here of the book. So it was Knitting in the Stacks, no, Stitching in the Stacks. And the pattern is by Cheese Zombie. It is on Ravelry. It is a paid for pattern on Ravelry, but since I got it from the library book, it was a free project for me. And there was a few cute projects in that book. I would have loved to add it to our collection, but I don't want to buy it secondhand from Amazon. So if ever it's available again through our book distributors, I would get a copy. So I used, so it's worsted weight acrylic yarn, just yarn that I had in stash. Obviously, because I've got tons of different colors acrylic. So I worked on him. I used a US 3.25 millimeter needle. The pattern does call for making the eyes in yarn, but I didn't like them. They were too bugged out for me. So I bought these little, wiggly eyes, and I have them glued on with some fabric glue. I don't have the little ones at home, so I don't think anybody's going to be pulling on them. And then I just used floss thread to make his mouth. And he will be going into work with me. The other day I thought of maybe making a little magnet for him, and just similar to how Disney World does it with some of their toys now. They put a little magnet in here, and you can put a magnet inside your shirt, and you can walk around with them. So I was thinking, one of these days I'm going to show off work with Wormie and introduce him to everybody as, look, meet the new member of our team. I'm also thinking he's going to be the one that I'm going to bring with me every time I have to make a presentation, so I can remember to smile when I have to talk finances to the politicians again. Not my favorite thing to do, but it comes with a job. Anyway, so Wormie. And he is stuffed 100% with wormies, yarn wormies. I keep all of my clips of projects and yarns that I've used for different things. I have a few of these jars filled with all of the yarn ends. If there's not enough to use it for something else, or I've clipped it from, I don't know, like this is from, see, like from scanning up a ball, if I've got that. It all goes in here. So that's what he is stuffed with. I stuffed him really consistently with all of these pieces so that I didn't have to put any beads in it, any beans, nothing. It's just, and then you just sort of like play with them to fix them. So so he's over here. I've got him, as I'm talking to you, I have him on top of here so I don't forget to talk about him. And all I see is this looking at me. It's like he's critiquing. He's making sure that I'm reading all my notes correctly. He's the director of my episode today. So he's not the production crew. Which, speaking of the production crew, decided to go take his nap. So he's the director of this episode, okay? So what do you think? Yeah, give it a try. It was a little fiddly if you get the pattern. It was a little fiddly to start with the instructions on how to do the increases, but I just did my own increase right, increase left, and my knit two together, slip, slip, knit. Once I figured out why it was asking me to do it, I just did it my way. So it's not perfect, but it doesn't matter because you're looking at it all the way from over here. You're not looking at it for its perfection of stitches. Okay, Wormie, let's put you back over here where you can keep me company as we finish this up. All right, what are we doing? Yeah, good. So, notebook. Let's move to crochet, shall we? Again, if you've seen this on Instagram, you would have seen it on Ravelry. You will have seen my Hexi shirt / cardigan, the gray one. I have worn this several times to work since I finished it, and I also use it as my evening wrap because it's blowing out a little bit, but I think you saw the gray of it when I did it, when I posted it on Instagram. It has become my knitting shrug. If I sit in the evening on my back deck and the temperature is starting to get a little chilly, this is what I put on over my shoulders to work on, and I am just super attached to it. And the pattern, the way it is, the way it works up, it just, I can just put it like this over my shoulders when I'm outside, and it stays. And if I want to, I'll just put it on, and it's short enough that it doesn't feel like I'm wearing a bulky sweater, but yet it's crocheted in a way that makes it feel like a cozy hug, and it just fits perfectly. So I've gotten super attached to it. So what have I done when I'm super attached to something? I make another one. So here is the one that I just finished. This one's not even in my notes because I just finished this last night at the winery that we went to this weekend, which is perfect for this wine colorway. So this one is in this cranberry color. Same idea of the short sleeves and the body. I did not do a button band because I like it like this, so I can just put it on this way without worry of any buttons. This is a hexagon, and I'm going to show you how it starts because I have another one started. And the way I attach it, the two hexes, there it is on the back. You end up making two squares and then attaching them. And here's attached in the back. And the way I do it, I do a slip stitch join, slip stitch crochet. I think you'll be able to see that there, yep. So it's a single crochet, slip stitch on the right side. Now, this pattern is by Kelly Phelps, Craft and a Cuppa on YouTube. Go on over and watch the podcast or the tutorial. Listen to her, she's wonderful to listen to. She takes you step by step through the process, but in her notes, she has all of the information on the pattern, how much you need for which size you're going to make, and her measurements are spot on. I made mine in a medium to large size, and with acrylic, once you wear it, it gets even softer and looser, even though I had washed and put this in the dryer. This one hasn't gone in the dryer yet because, as I said, I just finished that, so let me put it on. So I'm not signing up for this one because I've got the video on Instagram, and I know I've got the video that I can put on here afterwards when I do editing. So here's the cranberry one. Okay, and named there. And let's see if I can stand up a little bit here so I can show you. It does not match my shorts, but you get the idea. It's hip length. And once I do a little blocking of it too, and with acrylic blocking, in this particular case with this yarn, I'm just gonna put it in the washing machine on gentle and in the dryer. And actually I might not even need to, well, no, I will, because it takes some of the stiffness of the acrylic away if I do that. And this will be an outfit for work tomorrow. Not with this one, I'll find something else, but yeah, cranberry is definitely my color. As much as I like royal blue, I really like the cranberry. So this is what's finished. So let me show you the yarn that I use. The yarn that I use has been discontinued, and I bought this a few years ago to make shawls, prayer shawls, wraps. I'll post a picture on here of the shawls that I made with these. And this yarn was discontinued. It's a Lion brand yarn. It's Vanna style Estilo. And I bought them for $3 a ball at a Ocean State job lot. They had them in grays, blues, greens, beiges, cranberry, mustard color, aqua, a plethora of colors. I suspect it got discontinued because it's not a heavily wound yarn. And what would happen is it is very splitty. I would imagine if you're knitting with it, it's very splitty. Crocheting with it as it is, sometimes it will split a little bit, but it straightens itself out really well. But it is such a soft, light yarn, and the colors were just beautiful. So 3 balls went into this, and this is what I've got left from the 4th ball, which is, so it's a DK yarn. So the color was claret, and it looks like it was 254 yards, 100 grams, or 254 yards, 232 meters per ball. So 700 meters to make this top, thereabouts. And so at $3, we're talking about a $15 garment. It makes up for, you know, the $28, $29, $30, $32 skeins of yarn that I also buy. And yeah, so let me tell you what the modifications was on this, and bear with me. This is the last piece that I'm going to show you that's finished, and then I'm going to talk about the winners for the giftaway. So don't leave me yet, if you're still there. If you already left me, hopefully you'll come back to listen to who the giftaway winners are. The modifications I made on this is that Kelly does her pieces, she crochets backwards and forwards. So she alternates the rows. I prefer the front facing crochet versus the back. And so I like my flat stitches. So what I do is I knit in the round as long until I get to the size that I need to. And then I will just, did I say knit? I crochet in the round. And then, actually I should hold up the other one that I have in progress because it'll be easier to show you. So, this is, and I used, where is it? I lost it. And I used a size J 9mm hook on this one. So here's the lighter gray. This is what the balls look like. This one is silver. So it's super, super soft. And so it's a hexagon. This is what a hexagon is. So it's 6 sides to the granny stitch. So instead of a granny square, and once you fold it, there's your sleeve. And I got a little itty bitty one here that I started this morning on the drive home. Here's a little itty bitty one. So I'll be matching this one to this one. Okay. Because this is already the size that I need for the sleeve length. So this is all I want for sleeve. And this is going to be body. But then what you do is you add more rows here and here. Then you just don't add any more here. You add here and here until you get to where you need to go with your top. So because I don't go backwards and forwards, I end up with a lot of ends to sew in. Because what I'll do is I'll start crocheting here, and I'll go, and I'll go, and I'll go, and then I'll end here, because that's the sleeve. But it's okay. It's okay. It's my choice to do it that way. I prefer the look of it, and I'm a fast crocheter, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, picture that as the next garment. And then like this, once you've assembled it, once you've attached the two pieces, so picture this as possibly being finished. Once you attach the back here, if you decide that you need it to have more length, much like this, you just crochet some more rounds, and then you have the length that you want. So you can make this as the short cardigan like I have, or if you wanted to make it a longer one, you can. As Kelly says, it's your project. You do it the way you want to, the way you feel comfortable wearing it. So highly recommend, if you're a crocheter, give this a try. You're not going to regret it. Okay, that's, I think I said that it's a Hexi shirt, Kelly Phelps, Craft and a Cuppa on YouTube. I'll link below. 6mm J hook. Yeah, and I did a medium to large size for me. Okay, I got through all of the finished projects in 58 minutes, which might be less if I can control myself from doing some editing of my ums on here. Okay, so shall we now do the ta-da announcement of the winners of our giftaway? You are all so wonderful. I wish I had projects. I wish I had gifts for all of you. I wish I could send yarn, a skein of yarn to all of you. You're all amazing and so kind, and this is the part of the giveaway that's so hard for me all the time, is, you know, when the random comment picker brings up a name, I just wanted to bring all of your names up. But in this case, you know, 2 names came up, and they were names that I recognized. So I thought that was great, because sometimes I always wonder, well, if I just pick a name of somebody that just popped on here and saw that I had a gift away and then is going to get the prize, when I've had people that have been with me for a while and it doesn't end up being them. But it was names that I recognize. I was thrilled. So let's make the announcement. So I had these 2 skeins of yarn that I was gonna pass on to someone else. This is Yarn Teeny hand-dyed yarn. This is a it's a 50% superwash wool and a 50% tencel. It's fingering weight yarn, 420 yards. So this skein, the name that came up for this skein was at Nicole Fontaine 1720. Yay, Nicole! I was so thrilled. Nicole's been with me for a very long time, and she's one of those people that often comments. I don't know if there's been any episode that she doesn't comment. Nicole is in Montreal. I love Montreal. So when I chat with her on here, I feel like I'm visiting Montreal in just a little tiny little way. So yay, Nicole. So if, and I think, let me see, I'm gonna get my phone, and I think you had an idea. Let's see, what did you said, thanks for one more episode with all your yummy crafts. I love pink. If I was to win it, it would become a traveling solo by Hohe Locatelli. I'm so glad you won this wonderful prize. Thank you for your work promoting libraries. Sweet. Thank you, Nicole. And so, yeah, so Nicole, I think you know what has to be done. You have to reach out to me on Ravelry would be great, because I'm, you know, I'm on there quite often, or on Instagram, and let me know how I can get this sent out to you. I would love to see this go over the border over to Montreal. Yay. And the other one was this Pink House Yarn Deluxe Sock, which is 85 extra fine merino wool, 15% nylon, in the colorway pistachio, right? Yeah, I would say pistachio. And this is one skein I had in stash that needs to find a home for someone to make a pair of socks or a shawl with. And the person whose name came out, another one, and this one had me in tears of laughter. I love how creative people are with their posts sometimes. And this one was one of those. And it is Jan Nidal 3018. And her comment was, OMG, you are going to make me spell pistachio. I just thought that was so creative. Yeah, because pistachio is a word that I sometimes have to stop and think how to spell it. So these are the two prizes. So same thing. Let me know how to get in touch with, well, no. Same thing as with Nicole. Let me know how I can get this sent out to you. Reach out to me on Instagram or on Ravelry, and I'll get this in the mail to you soon. So yay, congratulations to all of you. And I think what I'll do the next time I have a gift away, I'm also going to have an option for a pattern to gift away a pattern, because I do have my list of viewers, and my list keeps growing. And the only reason I'm keeping this list is because I am so curious where people are finding me, where they're watching me from. And I have somebody from Italy, and I would love to send something to Italy one day, but I don't know how the cost is going to be to ship something that far. So if ever there's an opportunity for me to have a gift away and it's a digital pattern that I can offer you up on Ravelry, I'll probably do it that way. And that's how I'd be able to get something off to Italy or New Zealand or Australia, as my thank you to you for staying on here with me on this journey. Okay, so with that out of the way, if you need to pause me and go do your thing and then come back, it's fine. If you're going to stay on with me, thank you, because there are two more things that I want to talk about that are works in progress. I have a few things still in the whip basket that we're not going to talk about on this one, but there's two that I'm really excited about, and I wanted to record it here on this episode. And then I'll do little life stuff and a little shout out to someone who left a message, because the last few episodes I've mentioned the book that I've read, and somebody has left a comment, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to put that on here and have that little shout out to her as well. So I'm not even going to stop for a drink break because I'm on a roll. I'm doing really well here, so I'm going to keep going. So let's talk about my work in progress that I showed you last episode that I wanted to work on, and I did. I worked on it while I was at the campground, and I'm really excited about it, and that is the cross stitch piece. I'd shown you this cross stitch piece that I picked up for $3.99 at my local thrift store, because I do love a thrift when it comes to my hobbies. And I had found this piece, and it had come with all of the material to do it. It was sealed and came with a cloth, everything. And I decided that I wanted to work on it, and I did while I was at the campground. So I spent a lot of time on this piece, and this piece spoke to me because of its messaging. And let me show you how much I've gotten done. Now this is not a floss tube, so I don't have this pressed. This is how it is. I'm working on it. So here's what I've gotten done so far. Yeah, I really love this message. You know, blessed is the life that finds joy in the journey. And that's what this says to me. So I've gotten pretty much well, this is pretty much all done, and now I am doing the bottom piece. I did have one little error, which is the hearts was supposed to be this color and this color. The wording was supposed to be in the gold, but it's all right. If I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. So why did I tell you? Because I'm being honest, right, about my makes. So yeah, so this is what it's looking like here. And I'm really, really enjoying this piece. And in between, well, this was worked on inside the camper on the very hot days with air conditioning. This was done canal side when I was there watching the boats come through on the days that wasn't too windy. And I don't even know when I did the hats and the mittens. I don't know. I found somehow, maybe it was when I was up until midnight working on it. But yeah, I'm hoping to continue to finish this because I want to get it framed and put it up in my dining room or kitchen / dining room area. Yeah, so now I want to cross stitch a lot of things. Now I'm looking at gnome patterns that are cross stitch. But yeah, but I'm not gonna allow myself to start something new until I finish this one. So that's a work in progress. My other big work in progress, and this one I'm really, really excited about. If you were with me back in January, I think, or February, I talked about signing up to be a test knitter for this project, and I didn't get in. But I did buy the pattern because I really want to make this top. And I started it as part of the Christmas in July make-along with Tori of Knitworthy Yarns, which is a yarn shop in North Carolina. I've not visited the shop, but they're the shop that I've connected with through being a winner. I got one of their sock bags and yarns from having participated in the Socks with Sam campaign. And they've been great. They follow me on Instagram. I follow them. If I ever drive down to Jacksonville again, instead of flying over with JetBlue, I will make a stop in North Carolina and go visit Knitworthy Yarns. So what is it that I'm working on? It is, no, I can't show you that because that's the graph, but I think, so I got it in this bag, which is a fall bag. It's not a Christmas bag, but it is perfect for putting my yarn in here, and so that's where it is. It's a seasonal bag. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Christmas bag. And this is what I've got inside. So I got my 2 balls of yarn, my project, and my pattern. And let me take it. I do have it in stitch holders so that I don't make a mistake. But this is, and it's unfortunately the color here in my dinette area in the late afternoon sun will make it look a little different. It'll make it look a little bit more orangey, but trust me when I tell you, this is a deep, deep red. I am working on the Isabell Kraemer, the Christmas Belle. How beautiful is this? It's 2 colors, so it's color work, right? And I am thrilled with it. It's been hard to put this down because I just want to keep going with the color work. As much as color work is a little bit stressful for me because I'm not a continental knitter on my left hand, I feel like I'm always looser with a left hand, but it is working out really, really nice. And I already know from previous experience, having done the Alenciana sweater, which is probably episode 8 or 9, I had done the Alenciana, which is a design by Filipa Nunoy, a Portuguese designer, and I loved that sweater, and I still plan on making another one. Having done that sweater and having it feel like the color work wasn't quite flat, but after blocking, it did go flat. But look at that. Oh, I gotta we have until December to finish this, but the way I'm going, I think this is going to get finished way before. Yeah, it's going to get finished way before December. Got my little sheepy stitch holders there. And I do have a Christmas marker. It is a little acrylic Santa hat made by my friend Sue. She makes these little acrylic stitch markers. So that my little Santa hat. And the yarn that I'm using, and this is what is so gorgeous, is this. And again, it's more of a red, ruby red, than it is this orange red. And I'm gonna try to get pictures outside and hopefully get its true color. And this is Fiber Seed Sprout Sock in the color Sooty Suit. Tell me that doesn't say Christmas and Santa Claus. I picked this up at Fiber Fest of New England this past November. It was their show colorway. And I walked by the booth 3 times. They had this color and they had a pink, a hot pink, raspberry pink, I should say. And wasn't gonna do it, but I kept going back. And right before I left the festival, I went back and I picked up 3 skeins. And I am so happy that I did. I love this color, and I think it's going to look great when it's all done. So to pair with it, I wasn't sure to go with a cream color or more of a gray color. And I went, and so happy that I went with it. I went with this, speaking of Montreal and my visit to Montreal, my souvenir yarn from Montreal, La Laine de Courtier, right? I think I said that right. La Laine de Courtier, La Gabas. And it was colorway unique. And it is a soft gray, light gray, beigey gray. And it just complements. So it couldn't have been a white and it could have been a cream, because if this is Santa's Sooty Suit, if he's gotten some ash on the gray, it has to be. So these are the colors. And they just complement each other really, really well. And for my friend Robin, I did swatch. I did make my little swatch to make sure. I did not swatch in the pattern, but I did swatch in just the red to see if I got what I needed. I have plenty in terms of width. Length was a little short, but I already know that I could just add a few more rows for length. So I don't worry so much about the length portion of it. But there's my little swatch. So I did it, I swatched. But how pretty is that? So this is gonna get most of my attention over the next few days. I'm gonna get this done. And yeah, I did say it was the Christmas Belle by Isabell Kraemer. And yeah, that's my most recent obsession to get done. And I think, let me check my notes. I think I've done everything. Yeah, that's everything that I had on my notes. And I'm at 1 hour and 15 minutes. Give or take a few minutes if I need to do any little editing. So thank you to everyone. One last piece, which is the shout out to at Dorothy Rainey 1141. When we were talking about book recommendations, she had a recommendation of a book that was really good, and I totally agree with her. It is one that I've read and I love, and it is The Midnight Library. I know it's a book that some people love, some people hate. I absolutely loved it. I love any kind of fiction read where the character has decisions to make, which direction they're gonna go with their life, and that book speaks to that. The concept of the book is very similar to It's a Wonderful Life, where she gets an opportunity to see how her life would have turned out depending on which direction she took. So that is the type of read that I enjoy. So if you're looking for another recommendation from me, I'll give you that one. It's The Midnight Library, and I don't remember the author right now off the top of my head, but I'll have it in here somewhere. Is available at your local public library, and it is a read that I often leave as a recommendation on our table for good reads for our patrons. So check that one out. I think I've reached the end of my speech. Are you all still here? Thank you so much. Life of things I'll just add at the end is that a happy new fiscal year. July 1st came, and from the last episode you saw my appeal or my speech to the city council. We did get our budget. It wasn't as bad as I feared, but not as good as I hoped. There are some challenges ahead for me in finding ways to be creative to meet the services that I have to offer to our community with the cutbacks that they've made. And yeah, so hence a lot of knitting time, and hence the need to take off to a winery yesterday, do a road trip to a winery, and just join friends and figure out or try to process some news that I had gotten on Friday at work, and trying to forget my Monday blues that's right around the corner. And that's why I really wanted to record, because this brings me so much joy. Talking about my makes really puts me in a whole other place. And yeah, Monday will be what Monday is, and we'll deal with that part of the job, and we'll see how it goes over the next few months. And hopefully by some miracle some funds will be found, and they won't need funds to be taken from our library to cover some of the funds that was cut from other departments, because some things do have to be funded. Yeah, there's contracts and there's obligations that have to be met. So that's the job piece. Life, great. We had a great time camping this year again. When I say camping, it's not exactly camping in the woods. We take our camper down to Scusset Beach, which is down in Bourne towards Cape Cod. It's at the entrance to the Cape Cod Canal. We parked it there for a few weeks, and I would go at the end of the workday or on the weekends, or if there was a good weather day and I still had vacation time to use up, I went down and spent the time in the camper, where I did a lot of my crafting. So that was a good way to end the fiscal year. And now here we are. We celebrated July 4th with friends at a campground, and that was, again, I did a lot of this in the camper, and my friends saying, well, aren't you going to come and join us? I'm like, yeah, I'll get there in a minute. Let me just, I've got this goal that I have to meet. I have this thing that I have, this list that I have to accomplish for today. I don't have any video footage for Scusset, because I already had that from last year. I think it was episode 7 or 8. If you go back, I did a little video of what the campground, it's a state campground, state park, what it looks like and how it's set up there. So I've already recorded that, it's there. I didn't repeat that again. I did do a little footage though of our vineyard visit yesterday. I'll put that here in the end as in closing, if you'd like to see. And yeah, I'm a white wine drinker, just with a meal. But yesterday I found myself not thinking twice about ordering the wine flight, and yeah, 4 glasses of wine went down really well, and but I still managed to do some knitting at night when we sat around chit-chatting with friends. So anyway, I think I've tucked myself out. Thank you. Muito obrigada. I really appreciate all of your time that you spend with me, and thank you for getting me over the 1,000. I think I'm at 1,030 by now, so it's safe to say I'm over 1,000 subscribers. And yeah, if you like it, please consider liking. If you haven't liked, please consider sharing it with friends. And most of all, please comment. Leave me a comment, ask me a question, anything you thought of. I'm not good at asking questions. I'm better at having people ask me questions and then I can answer them. But if you have any questions for me about anything, please do that. And yeah, please continue to let me know where you're from if you haven't already, so that my list on my notebook can keep growing. And yeah, I think with that said, I think Wormie and I are going to say goodbye and wish you all a great rest of July and hope you're all doing well, and we hope to see you back here hopefully sooner than 4 weeks. I know I've said that before, but yeah, we'll try to get back on here soon because I give a feeling that I'll have a few more finished projects as I go through these next few weeks. So with that said, adeus, goodbye, até a próxima, until next time. Look, he wants attention.
Hi, baby.